Hi, and welcome to energizers.com, the best site on the internet for everything involving energizers, icebreakers, and ways to win the crowd. In this video, we're going to talk about an energizer called the Switch. It's actually a mind bender, but it's a mind bender where we've taken a physical approach to it and turned every participant into a pawn that's going to be used for the mind bender to work. It's really great because you can work with the communication and the lack of communication. You can work with groups trying to agree on how to do this and how to solve this, while at the same time being in it, which makes it really hard to get the big picture. It's really hard to step back and have a look at it and say, okay, I see how the solution is now. It's also a mind bender where you can completely eliminate, let's say, dialogue, communication, and you can do some variations where there will be no communication and only, let's say, there's a team captain, only that person can communicate, or they can take turns, the people in the group, to try and figure out the next move to solve this little puzzle. What you need to make this work is actually just people. It's very simple, it requires no props, it can be done indoor and outdoor, and it's so simple. It can be done in a classroom, it doesn't really take much space, so you're not really limited in any way. It's just a nice little mind bender slash physical exercise that you can pretty much use anywhere at any time. So what you do is you get your group, let's say you have a group of 10 people, you'll position 5 people on one side facing one direction. There'll be a space in the middle which is blank, or where there's no people, you'll have 5 people on the other side facing them. In the middle, you'll have a blank or open space where people can step into, and then it's up to them to get the switch done so that the people facing this way will eventually be down here, and the people facing that way will be eventually up there. If you have an uneven number, let's say that you have 7 people, or 9, or 11, 13 people, personally, I would just name one of them team captain. This is the person that can communicate and call out who's moving where and when. If you have an even number, like just said here with 5 and 5, I'll just let them figure it out themselves. That depends a little upon if you're having a session where communication is really important and opening up so that everyone gets to say their piece, then I would probably try and limit communication to display how hard it is when first of all, how hard it is for everyone to agree at the same time about what's going to happen here, because some people might figure out real quick that this is the solution, this is what should be done, and others might be a little more, I'm not really quite sure how to do this, and then suddenly the dialogue or the communication between these people becomes very interesting. It's also very interesting in this case to see who takes charge, who takes command, and who starts shouting out, ways of doing this, and now you should do this, now you should do that. Which people are more reluctant to step into that, let's say, and take charge. There's not really much in setting the scene. It's basically, if you have a lot of people, let's say you have a group of 24 people, you might want to set the scene by demonstrating how are they to position themselves, with just one group, let's say 6 people. So you'll have 4 total, 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, and 1 blank space or free space in the middle, and just show that so that the other groups will know, how to position themselves. Then I'd simply have them do that. So you have the 4 groups positioned correctly, and then explain to them that there are some basic rules for this mind bender. There are very basic rules, only 3 ways that you can move in this traffic jam, or what we should call it. You can move forward 1 step if there is a free space. You can move backwards 1 step if there is a free space. You can jump 1 person, but only 1. Jump 1 person, you don't have to actually physically jump that person, but you move around that person and position yourself in a free space if there is such. Those are basically the rules. It's really easy when explained like this, but it's really hard once you stand there. We've done a little Lego demonstration for you for the solution for this, because it's just easier to explain when you have, some visuals to help you explain it. The solution is actually very simple in itself, but it's very nice to just see it. So we've made a small Lego presentation for you to make that a lot easier. Okay, so here we have the setup. If we have 8 people, you have 4 people facing one way, 4 people facing the other way, and now the whole job is to get the people standing on, in this particular case, the green square, to stand in the same direction as they are now, but on the brown square, and vice versa. So the people on the brown square will be standing in the same direction they're facing now, but on the green square. And what the rules are here, as explained, the rules are that a person can move into a space in front of them, like this, if there is no one there. So if there's a free space, that person can move there. That person can also move backwards into a free space if there is a free space there. So that's it. Forward and backwards into a free space, and a jump. Wouldn't literally have to jump, but walk around can be made if there is one person between you and a free space. Okay? So as long as there is one free space between you, see that person here could also jump back again, if that was the case, and stand there. So as long as there's a free space and one person between you and the free space, you can go into that space. If there were two people, if this guy was standing here, for instance, or in this case it's a girl, this guy couldn't jump over two, only one. Those are the rules. Really, really simple, really, really basic, nothing much to it. And now the job, the task for the participants is to switch places. And as said, if you have an odd number of people, that person would be standing out here or out here and would give directions and call out who is doing what when. Now the solution is actually quite simple. And that's why we wanted to demonstrate it like this, because we could start, making, let's say, a letter code saying then D goes to E and then F goes to D, and then, but that becomes really too complicated. The really, really simple solution here is that the first person, let's say it's person D here, the first person has to get down here before anything else happens to the other people in the line. Okay? So the first person would take a step forward, like that. This person would then jump over. The first person would take a step forward. The next person would jump over, like that. Forward, over, whoops, like that, whoops, forward, and over. And then this person would move here. This is basically the solution. Always the first person in the line would have to go all the way to the end. Now these people have to back up to make room for the next one. So they back up like this. And this person, of course, stands still, because now this person moves forward. He goes forward once. And they still focus on that person. That person has to get down here before anything else happens with these people up here. So not really that difficult. Not when you see it like this and when you know it, of course, like it always is with a mind bender. But really, really difficult when you're actually standing there and having to do it, because once you're in it, it's really getting the full picture of what's going on is a lot harder. So this person moves forward, so on and so forth, like that, there, and boom, that one is in. So these guys, they move back once more, making room again for the next person down here. Like that. Oh, now it's this turn. It's B's turn. Jump over. Like that. Move forward. Jump over. Move forward. Jump over. Move forward. Jump over. See? And now this person is safely where he should be. So now we have to get A to F. Same thing. They move back one. So make room for the actual jump down here. Like that. My turn. Yay. Da, 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 da. Jump over. This guy moves forward. Now he's in position. Now he's where he's supposed to be. This person jumps over, and now she is where she's supposed to be. Forward. And now it all comes together, and the mind bender has been solved. Like that. So really easy when you know the solution, really easy. But when you don't know the solution, when you're standing in it, it's a lot harder. And now you can imagine these people starting to debate who's going forward and who's going backwards and who's supposed to jump and whose turn is it to do something next. And what can happen if you make a variation where, let's say, A starts by calling out, then I starts calling out the next one, B takes the third one, H the fourth one, and so on. You might have people who starts moving the same person back and forth. No, you go back. And then the next person says, no, go forward again. And the next person says, no, you have to go back. because some people will know the solution and know what is the actual next step, and others will just move one of the persons here because they have to do something, and that always makes it for a very interesting situation. So, but that's how it's done. It's a really simple exercise once you know how to do it, but it's really complicated once you're in it. So yeah, there you have it. When you're facilitating this afterwards, once they're done and they have solved it, if they have solved it, if you have a group that didn't solve it, maybe you should just call upon one from the other group to help them solve it. Also, note that being the captain, if you have a team captain, can be, there's a lot of pressure there. They will really feel the pressure because they have maybe 8 colleagues standing there waiting for them to call the shots. And if they're called wrong, oh my God, that's on the heart is pounding and blood is flowing. That the sense of urgency is really interesting to watch, and just take note of how are they reacting to this, and are they reacting differently if you have different groups. How is that captain doing compared to that captain? And when you're doing the facilitation afterwards, this is basically it's about communication. So it's about how hard is it to know the solution and not being able to give it. How frustrating is it to stand there and think, oh my God, we've been standing here for 10 minutes now, and you still didn't get it, Mr. or Mrs. Captain. Is it easier if everyone can chip in? Does that make it easier if you have 10 people, 11 people, all wanting to give their solution to what should be done next? Because the whole energizer is, when you're switching places, it's in very specific steps. You have to do it in specific steps in order to get to the solution. And is it easier when you have 10 people, 11 people, all trying to solve the same thing at the same time, thinking or maybe knowing the solution, thinking they know it, or actually knowing it, the solution when they want to call it out? There is an option to switch captains in between, if you like. Say, okay, this captain is not really catching on. Do you want to switch with someone, and who do you think you should switch with? Who would you like to switch with? And that person can say, okay, I would like to switch with Thomas or whoever. And then afterwards in the facilitation, why did you pick that particular person to switch with? What was it about him or her that made you feel like that was the right person to get the job done? So that's it for the switch. Really hope you enjoyed this video and find it interesting enough that you will go out there and use it. When you do, please go to our Facebook community page. Go there, ask questions, share your experiences, get feedback. If you have a video, upload it, get feedback on that. We're there to help you because we really want to help battle boring meetings, and we want you and everyone else who has joined us to go out there and win the crowd.